Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night. Of course, that can only mean one thing, which is Tier 1 here in Flashpoint Racing League. A great race we had yesterday in Tier 2, which was good to see. So now here we are with Tier 1. Now, one thing you guys will already probably notice the difference of course, unfortunately, due to the recent update in which EA and Codemasters released, unfortunately, can't use the cars anymore. We have to use the F1 World Car. Reason for that, of course, is in case you've been living under a rock recently, the cars aren't equal anymore, which is a shame. They've managed to create a bug that they already fixed, so I'm not sure how they've managed that. But for now, for the time being, we have the F1 World Car. We can still use that, and of course, as you can see, every single driver has their own livery, and I'll do my best to, of course, keep up with it for you guys. Before we get anything underway, though, let's go through, of course, the championship standings now. It could be a very big night, actually, especially for the championship leader, NSX Selly, on 188 points, because the long and short of it is, he only has to score now 3 points for the remainder of this season, in the last 2 races, of course, to win the Tier 1 title for Season 4. So, NSX Selly leading the title with 188 points. Gatkowski, the only man who can stop him now, on 140 points behind him. And then, Cucumber on 117 points, again not here this week, so could be under threat, must be said, from Limitless, of course, who is here again this evening. A good race back from him last week. I think it was the first time he's been on the podium for a very long time, so good to see him back up there. But him in 4th place on 108 points, then followed by Volcano, still not got that elusive victory. He's been so close on a few occasions, becoming 2nd twice, and of course a podium as well, but only there in 5th place in the standings. Then followed by Carl, great qualifier, managed to have 2 pole positions so far and 2 fastest laps as well, but only 1 podium to his name. Spanias in P7, Jamie in 8th, Marios in 9th, and VIR Dark rounds out the top 10 on 26 points, but only being here for 2 rounds, so good turnout for him so far. Let's see, of course, who will do the best tonight. So, with that said, let's get everything on the screens now, ready to go, of course, for the upcoming session. Everybody, of course, on the soft tyres. Like I say, it's going to be a bit different this time out, of course, with the F1 World Cars, but not to worry, we'll do our absolute best to make sure we get everything as quickly and as easy as possible. So, Mavros, let's ride on board with now, of course, a man who usually would be, of course, in the scarlet red Ferrari, but not tonight. He is in his own F1 World Car. So let's ride on board as he goes around the final corner now. Now, one thing you'll notice about this track, it's very much a full throttle circuit, very flowing, very nice to drive, and because of that, it's very easy for the drivers to run out of electrical battery actually to go towards the line. We'll see what Mavros does now to go into turn 1. Doesn't use all the track, but he keeps it nice and tight to the inside, runs it out wide. That's put him in a good position now for this nice sweeping left-hander, down a few gears and then floor the throttle, just trust that the car will turn in, and it will. We see a car getting out of the way there, good to see. Got the Audi livery on that car, and chuck it into the right-handers now, down 1 gear. Some drivers do 2, but that's meant that he's not have to go down another gear for the next corner, so goes towards probably the slowest corner on the track now, opens the corner, goes down to 3rd gear. Traction can be really crucial here to make sure you get a good run going up to this long right-hander now. It's so easy to invalidate your time as it tightens up on the outside here, but he's kept it on the track well. Full throttle here, no need to worry about this corner. He chucks it in and then down a couple of gears for this one here. Keeps the minimum speed as high as possible and runs it out wide. That was almost an invalidation, but thankfully for himself, he has kept it on the circuit and it's not going to be there. Now, these few corners are absolutely easy to bat out in these cars. No need to worry for this one. Chucks it into this triple right-handed now. Potentially comes off throttle here, but no, keeps it there. Down a gear, some of the drivers going to this left-handed here, as does Mavros there. And looks like there's a bit of time on the table, still a good lap opening for himself. Comes into the final corner now, uses all the track, down a few gears, floors the throttle early to get up to the line. And you'll see now going towards the line if he runs out of battery, but no, I think he's used it quite well actually and put it down during the middle sector. Comes across the line now, and it's a 21.0 to set us off here in the nighttime sky at the Qatar Sales Circuit. In 2nd place now, Stefano, as he comes across the line, as we've got one of the drivers coming across the line as well now. Let's see what time they can do. It's Igor actually starting his lap, I believe, as he comes across the line now. We have, of course, Gatkowski again, 20.2, already right to the top of the standings. You'll have to bear with me, guys, because, of course, it's very hard to get on top of these times, especially with the drivers in completely different cars. But nevertheless, Marios up into P2. and then Ishak as well into P3 20.8. So it is first blood to Gatkowski, it seems, at the moment. Interested to see what Limitless can do now as he comes around the final few corners. Let's see what the man who, of course, usually drives for the Red Bull team can do now. Comes around the final corners. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think it's just the drivers getting out of the way of each other. Comes across the line now. He guns it towards the line. One of his favourite tracks, it must be said. So let's see what he can do as he comes across the line. It's a 20.6. Puts him up there into P3. That's a good banker time from Limitless, considering the man is not usually the best in qualifying. Stefano on a lap as well as Volcano sets the fastest time with a 20.0. And I think these times are going to come tumbling now. Surely we might see a 19 sooner rather than later. As one of, I think Stefano came across the line there. And Jamie puts it into P2 as well. So these times are nice and tight at the top, which is good to see. What about Selly then? He's about to start his lap, I believe. Let's ride on board with the championship leader. Of course, this is a race where this man could get crowned the Season 4 champion. So excited to see what he can do. He comes into turn 1 now, down a few gears. Keeps it nice and tight inside. You'll see how easily it is to get on the throttle there outside of that corner. Such a nice corner to drive. It gets a bit of a tank slapper going into that, but at the moment I think he's still doing well in the first set. So you can see how much of the ERS he is using currently. As he goes through now, chucks it down into 6th gear, keeps the minimum speed as high as possible, as we see some of the other times coming through as well. It's a CPI top 2 out in the moment as Eagle goes P4. Let's see what Selly can do now as he comes round the first part of the middle sector. Now chucks it into this right hander, down a few gears. Again, don't want to run it too wide, otherwise you are going to invalidate. Doesn't do that though. Again, this corner is completely flat out, not need to worry about this one. As he goes towards the hardest corner on the track, really, you have to carry as much speed as possible to make sure you gain going through these triple right-handed section. As we come through now, and he's not going to be worrying about that car on the right-hand side, of course. That is right out of his way now. Chucks it through, no need to get off the throttle. Let's see if he keeps it full throttle pin through here. Yes, he does. I think all the drivers in Tier 1 will be doing that. Down a gear potentially into here. Yes, almost runs wide. Keeps it on the track though. Comes around the final corner now. Let's see what his minimum speed's like here. Looks good at the moment. Floors it early. So as he comes across the line now, of course, one thing about Qatar is that the finish line is so far down the straight. Let's see what he can do. Looks like it's going to be a close time to the top. Will he be able to get there? No, he can't quite. But it puts him into P2. Great timing then of 20.1. As Lucas comes through now. I believe without a front wing, actually. It's not good. Oh no, he does have a front wing. Unfortunately, it's just hard to see this livery. Still got the lovely Williams livery on though, which is good to see. Comes around the final part of the first set today. See how he loses the back end. So let's see what he can do now, coming through the long right-hander as he comes through to, of course, well, it's basically a non-corner this one. It's completely full throttle, even in the race for the most part. Comes through now. Looks like a good line for himself. Interesting to see what this man can do now. We come through the long left-handed, followed by the triple right-handed corners, and it looks like a purple middle sector for Lucas at the moment. Of course, great qualifying for him last time out. Didn't quite get pole position in the end. Let's see what he can do now as he chucks it through the left-hander. Looks like it's going to be initially a good time. Good first run for Lucas as he comes through the final corner now. Puts the throttle down, of course, going towards the line. Let's see what he can do. But as you can see there, he's used all of his deployment. One of the problems that we've seen on this circuit, and you can see how much time he's lost there. Look at that, 21 flat. Must have lost over a second in that final straight. And that just goes to show you really need to put down your ERS going through the middle sector to make sure, of course, that you have enough going through the final part of the lap. Okay, I'm coming out of the pits now. Selly back into the pits, slightly on a different run plan, it seems, than the rest of the drivers. As some of the drivers are coming out now, I think the second runs are well and truly now underway. Let's see what the rest of the drivers are doing currently. Renz comes out as well. Mavros starting his lap now. Let's see what he can do. Slightly out of kilter with the rest of the drivers, of course. The first man to set a lap in the end. The back end steps out there. But it looks initially like it's still going to be a good first sector for the man in yellow and black. So usually the man in scarlet red, but not today. Of course, with us using the F1 World car. So he chucks it into double apex right-hander. You can see there he turns off his ERS, which a lot of drivers are having to make sure they don't use the deployment now. You can see from the rear light flashing there, turns it back on as we go through the part here in the middle sector. Of course, you can see he uses the ERS going through the long corners, but not into the slow ones, as you saw there again. Wants to make sure he gets enough traction, of course, going through them, but now won't be turning anything down. Of course, it'll be full throttle pin towards the end of this lap now as he comes through middle sector, and he actually invalidates his time. It's not going to be an improvement for the man who is setting his lap currently. Let's see what everyone else is doing at the moment. Lucas, of course, on an in-lap. He's really going to have to be careful now, because if he keeps using his deployment in the wrong places, he's not going to get anywhere near the front. We see a lot of drivers still haven't actually set a lap time so far. Laser on a lap at the moment as well. Mr. Psycho about to start his lap, as is Noel as well, and Frankis is on a lap currently, or excuse me, going to be on a lap currently. Lola Vera also on a lap as well. So a lot of these drivers are starting their second runs now. Let's see then, as Ishak comes through the second half of the lap. Now he's got a Red Bull livery on, of course, from Miami. Let's see what he can do. Some of the drivers are going to start coming across the line now. Let's see, Limitless starts his lap too. Ishak, though, 1/10 up on his time, currently going through the middle sector. This will put him up into the top 5 or so if he keeps going on with that improvement at the moment. Stefano as well, up by 300ths of a second on his time. Rudy coming through the middle sector split now as well. Let's see what he can do as he comes across the middle sector split now, up by 0.2 of a second on his initial time, so could potentially get him towards the top 10. Let's see as Ishak comes across the line now. Is he going to be able to get it towards the top 5? Coming across the line, deployment used, but he does get it into the 5th place position. Good time from him currently. We've got another driver coming across the line. Stefano puts it up into P13, I believe. Rudy coming across the line now as well. Can he get some improvement? Maybe potentially a bit of a slipstream from the car in front there as well as he comes across the line now. Will it be any improvement from Rudy? It's a 20.9 actually, so yes, it is an improvement. As we see, Lola Vera goes up into P9 as well. Times are absolutely tumbling now from the drivers. As they're coming across the line, Stefano as well. What time can he do as he's used all his deployment? Only P14 for the man in yellow and gold at the moment. What about Noel? He's actually invalidated his time in the final corner. Frankis, another invalidation. Volcano as well, invalidates his time. Selly just starting his lap now as well. So let's see what these drivers can do. Jamie up by 0.6 of a second. Actually a purple first sector for that man there. What about Limitless as he comes around the final corner as well? Up by nearly 0.2 of a second. This will put him towards the top 5 once more. Can he get to that area as he comes across the line now? It's a 20.3 and it puts him into 6th position at the moment. So not quite there. Gatkowski just coming out of the pit lane at the moment as well. Marios though, up by 0.3 of a second it was. But I think he's slowing down now. So that's not going to be a time for him. What about Selly though as he comes through the middle part of the lap now? I think it's going to be a good time for him initially. Let's ride on board with the man, of course, who could win the championship this time out in Qatar. As he goes through the middle sector now, wants to carry as much minimum speed through here. And this is just all the case now of just carrying as much minimum speed through these long right-handed corners now, because, of course, the more speed you scrub off, the harder it is to get a faster lap time. So, as Jamie comes across the line, let's see what he can do. Will it be anywhere near pole position for this driver? It's a 20.121, puts him into P2. So close to fine margins between these drivers now. Selly invalidates his time, has to go into the pit lane. And again, it looks like Marios, as he comes round these corners now, just doesn't have the pace to put another time in. Limitless, like we say, on his in-lap as well. Jamie, though, does improve on his time. Volcano goes back into the pits after invalidating, and after the second runs are done, it looks like Volcano has gotten off there by staying into P1 at the moment, as Lola Vera slowly coming into the pit lane now. I think a lot of these drivers are starting to run out of fuel on the in-laps. What about Zorzo? He's invalidated his lap as well. So unfortunately for that man, he is not going to be improving on his time currently. Frankis as well. So everybody now coming into the pit lane. Second runs are done. Let's see about Lucas though, because he's about to start his lap. Actually out of kilter with everybody else, like we said before. Really intrigued to see what this man can do now. Will he actually turn off his ERS? Because it's really costing him a lot of time, must be said. Not too certain if he actually knows that it's costing him so much time. He's probably wondering why he's so far down the pecking order. Because usually he's such a good qualifier, as we saw last time out. It doesn't look to me that he is actually turning off his ERS. No, he is not. And as he guns wide, somehow doesn't get an invalidation there. But he's 2/10 up on his first sector time, but he's just going to run out of ERS before he gets to the start-finish line, as he does invalidate there as well. And as I say before, Lucas is in a bit of a tough spot at the moment, not understanding the way the track actually works currently. And it's meant he's having to go over the limits, thinking he's losing time in the corners when he is not. It's actually on the straight going towards the line. And that has meant that the only man on track at the moment invalidates his time and is going to have to be coming back into the pit lane, tail firmly tucked between his legs after a mistake was made on his lap there. We've got some more drivers coming out of the pits now. I believe that is Laser. Yes, it is. So he'll be the first man to set his final lap time here at the Losail circuit. I must admit, a great circuit to drive. I think the drivers all agree on that one. Good for racing as well. You can follow cars side by side for the most part. So it's good to see. We go through the middle sector with Laser. And I can see in the minimap as well, a lot of the drivers are slowly but surely coming out of the pits to start their final laps. No need to worry about fuel consumption this time. No need to worry about anything else. Just that final lap and making sure you can get on top of that. Let's see what these drivers are doing currently as we go through now. The driver's still coming out of the pits though. He's like to say the man on the out lap at the moment. You see them all coming out. Look at that absolute swarm of drivers coming out. This is not going to help Laser unless they can all get out of the way quickly, because he is going to have a lot of traffic on his lap. Let's see as he comes around the final corner. So this is the first man to set his final lap time here in round number 11 of Flashpoint Racing League Tier 1 in season number 4. So let's see as he comes towards turn 1 now, how much speed will he be able to carry into the first set of corners. Chucks it in, goes down into 4th. You can see how early he can get on the throttle in these cars now. Chucks it into the next left-hander, down a couple of gears. Early throttle once more, run it out as wide as possible to make sure you carry all the speed going through these next sets of corners now. Chucks it into the next right-hander. Going to want to see if the car in front can actually get out of the way, and I hope that they will for his sake. As they do, good to see going down the inside. I think that's Limitless there, just getting out of the way of Laser in the car in front. Comes through the middle sector now. Initially up on his time through the first sector, which is good to see for him. Isn't actually closing off his ERS at the moment, so I think he might potentially run out on the line as well. So that's not good to see for Laser. But as he comes around the middle sector now, keeps the minimum speed nice and high in that car, and again it looks like he's got a good bit of speed, but unfortunately for him, he's going to run out of deployment as he comes across the line if he's not careful. It's actually a purple middle sector, 900ths up on his time, but once again he's just not going to have the deployment as he comes across the line unless something changes. He's got a lot of traffic, actually invalidates his time, and that is Laser out of qualifying now, not able to do a better time. Look at the traffic as we go through as well, all these drivers starting their laps now. Limitless coming through as well. Marios coming through, as is Gatkowski start the lap. Volcano right at the back of this. Jamie in second place currently, about to start his lap. But Selly 360 is the furthest forward of the guys in the top 3 at the moment. As we go through with these drivers. Noel in P18 also on a lap at the moment as well. So interested to see what he can do. But let's ride on with Selly 360. He's actually invalidated his time already, so he's not going to be improving on third place at the moment. Is the championship leader. Volcano coming through the first sector at the moment as well. Great livery on his car as well, must be said. Jamie coming to the end of the first sector split now. What time is he? He's actually down by 300ths of a second. What about Volcano? Uses all the track there as much as he possibly can. Comes through now as he turns off his ERS. What time can he do through the first sector? He's up by 300 a second. It's a purple first sector, but he loses the rear end, and it's going to be a tough lap for these drivers to see what times they could do. Gatkowski is up by 0.2 of a second in the middle sector. This could put him towards pole position. Limitless is up as well, but it looks like it's going to be Gatkowski, the man on the warpath at the moment, as he comes through. As Noel goes P3, what a time from him to get him up there. Selly down into P4. Let's see what Gatkowski can do now, the only man who can stop Selly 360 in this championship fight. As we come towards the line now, such a long straight, but as he comes through now, is it a 19 for Gatkowski? No, but it is pole position currently. It's a great time from him. Volcano in P2. Jamie's off the track. He's not going to be able to improve. Volcano is up by 1/10 of a second though as we come across the line now. What about Limitless? He's coming through now as well. Potentially could improve on his lap time as we come up towards the line. Can he get anywhere near pole position for the second to last race of this season? Coming across the line to 20.3. But what about Volcano? Can he take it back? Yes, he can. It's a 19.8. What a time from that man. Puts him in pole position. Jamie couldn't do anything about it. Loses his front wing. But it is CPI Volcano, the man who's still chasing his first win of the season, pulls it out the bag when he needs to. The only man in the 19s. What a time from him. Gatkowski did everything he can to keep the championship battle alive, starting ahead of Selly 360, who is in P5. Gatkowski's going to have to do everything he can to win this race, as Frankis gets a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking, although I'm pretty certain that is actually his AI, so potentially could be a lobby restart on that one. Like we say, it's just Jamie at the moment we are waiting for. Don't think, as Mr. Oh, I think the lobby might be broken, which is just fabulous to see at the moment. But like we say, no matter what, great lap time from Volcano. Puts him in P1 on a 19.897. What a time from that man. You see in the first sector, he almost lost the rear end as he came through the long left-handed hairpin. But it didn't cause him any issues in the end, did it? He still got onto pole position at 19.8. Man who I think will be very disappointed as well, of course, is Lucas. Down in P16 on a 21 flat at the moment. Not sure what on earth is going on with these times at the moment, but hopefully in 30 seconds we will have everything up and running again. Rakowski's left the session. I believe we may have a lobby restart as all the drivers are leaving the session at the moment, as we do have some penalties that weren't really needed and weren't really allowed either. But like I say, at the moment, even though we will get a lobby restart, it is Volcano in P1 on a 19.8. Gatkowski as well on a 20.0. Good time from him in the end. Jamie in P3. Noel P4. Great lap time to pull out right at the end of qualifying. Celia P5. Marios P6. Limitless, I think, will be quite disappointed actually in that 7th position that he has. Frankis in P8. Igor in 9th. And of course, Ishak rounds out the top 10 drivers. So, I believe we are getting a lobby restart. I could be wrong. Let me just double check for you guys. I believe so. So, it is a lobby restart for this. But, like we say, that is the qualifying finished. And, of course, that is the grid set for the race that is coming up just now. We will restart the session, and I'll be back with you soon.